everyone, this is Ashwini with you, and thank you so much for all of you for waiting patiently. I hope the audio and video is clear. If you have any issues, if the audio, video, if anything is not clear, please leave a message in the chat box. The technical team will look into it. If it's all fine, just give me a thumbs up, please. Okay, thank you. So as all of you who are here are aware that today this session is on medical PG pathway for international medical graduates to work in Australia. So 1 second please. Okay, thank you. So this is on medical PG pathway for doctors to work or study in Australia. So our guest for today is Dr. Krishnapriya Balanarayanan. A very warm welcome to you, doctor, and many thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. So before we go ahead with this session, it's a request to all of you, please help us to understand you a bit more on the screen. I request all of you to please select the right option that's relevant for you. So the first poll question is, we would like to know about your medical school status. Like, are you still in the medical school? Are you in internship? Or have you completed your medical school and internship? Are you working now? This is just to understand the audience today, how young the audience is. Are you all still in the graduation or completed graduation? Okay, nice. So we have majority of doctors attending the session today have completed MBBS and internship. Very nice. Thank you. We have one more question coming up. Again, this is understand you a bit more better. You can close this. Put up the next question. This is for us to know, have you decided it is Australia for you? Like you've already done this clarity that yes, I am going to go to Australia for my medical PG and I want Dr. Bala to please help us explain us with all the details. Or most of you are still undecided, like you're still thinking or you're not sure whether you want to do it in Australia, India, UK, US, maybe you're still not sure. If you can just click the right relevant answer.
I think I know where the majority is going for this question.
Okay, but not bad. Okay, majority is still undecided, but quite a large number of, I think, people attending a session today, they are very clear that it is Australia.
Yeah.
Nice that you've done your homework and you actually have the mind of doing PhD in Australia. So we have just one last poll question coming up. Request your answers for this as well. Now, because you all are exploring international career options, I want to know, what is the major challenge you see in your journey? Is it that you do not have a proper mentor, right connections, right network to help you throughout this journey? Or passing the entrance exam itself is quite challenging for you and that scares you? Or uncertainty in matching to a permanent residency kind of is the biggest challenge that you face in your journey? Or working in a different country, adjusting to the new system is a kind of fear that you have? Okay, very nice. So majority of you have answered that you do not have right connections or right guidance or right mentor to help you in your journey. That's the biggest challenge you're facing as of today. So we understand this is the major concern. This is a major concern you have, and most of the doctors that we've come across have actually told us this, that that they do not have right connections, or let's say the supportive network who will encourage them, who will guide them, help them, handhold them in their journey. So here we are with the solution. So we've come up with inspireimg. So we've launched. 1 second please, there's a technical issue. Just give me a second please. Sorry, it never happens, but I think today there's a little bit of lag from my side. Is it fine now, Dr. Bala? Is the audio okay?
It's a little better. You do lag sometimes, but it's better.
Okay. So we understand this is a major concern, and you face many challenges in this journey, starting from your decision-making process. And here we are with the solution, inspireimg. inspireimg is a social networking platform which connects you with the successful physicians, surgeons on the other side. This platform is not limited to one single country or one single pathway. Rather, you will have an opportunity to interact live with different doctors from different countries. It's a great place to network and receive credible information regarding study, work opportunities, and maybe get the right guidance, mentorship from doctors in UK, US, Australia, Canada, wherever you are or whichever country you are exploring. So we have many events coming up, or we have many events lined up for you. Just 2 to 3 days back, we finished an event where a program director from USA spoke about maximizing the chances of IMGs to match to residency in the US. So gradually after this event, in next couple of days, we have doctor from Canada talking about IMG pathway in Canada. Then we have doctors from UK, New Zealand, and a doctor from Switzerland coming up and talking about opportunities for doctors in other countries. So please join inspireimg, do follow us on Instagram and become member today if you want to be updated on all the future events that's coming up on inspireimg platform. The joining link, the website, everything will be shared with you during the end of this session. So this is about inspireimg. So now starting with our session. So again, a very warm welcome to you, Dr. Bala. So Dr. Bala has taken out, it was really difficult to actually get her time today, but thank you so much. We were receiving many requests because as most of you know, inspireimg is powered by Go Campus. So because Go Campus assists doctors only for India, UK, US, but constantly we receive calls, emails where they ask us, how about Australia? Like even our doctors who are working in UK, they ask us, what are the opportunities that we have in Australia? Can we move to Australia after a year, after 2 years? And she is from India, she is from Manipal, so who else can connect with you better than Dr. Bala? So here she is. Whatever doubts, whatever queries, whatever concerns you have as she starts this session, don't keep it with you till the end of the session. Start putting it in Q&A. We will take up all the questions in the end of the session once Dr. Bala is done with her talk. Should that be okay, Dr. Bala? Because sometimes I might forget again. When you're talking, I think they can put a question in Q&A, but we will ask you those questions in the end of the session.
No, that's the best way. That works well for me. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. So over to you now.
Hi guys, thanks for having me today. It's a pleasure to be here and to talk about the Australian system. A little bit about me. I am an international medical graduate. I did my medicine in Australia. In Manipal University in Karnataka. Then I got married and moved here. And once I did that, I did my MCQ exam, my clinical exam, and I started working here. Now I'm currently working as an emergency medicine registrar, and I am also a fellow in the fellowship pathway to become a general practitioner. So I thought, well, when Ashni approached me regarding having a talk, I said, what better way to get in connection with all you guys and kind of help you through your journey. So I have a little bit of a presentation that will help us during the talk. And if you have any questions, just put it in the Q&A, and I'm more than happy to chat to you guys about what are the options available. So just 1 second. Is everyone able to see my PowerPoint slide? Yes? I'm gonna take that as a yes and start, if that's all right. So today what I'll be talking about is going to be about a medical pathway in Australia, and my name is Krishnapriya Balanarayanan, but you can refer to me as KP Balan. So I did my medicine, like I said, in Manipur, and then I did the AMCs, and I've also done a certification in emergency medicine. So that's my area of interest. So to get started, why Australia? So, well, it's a very good question because you can pretty much travel anywhere. Anywhere you go in medicine, you know that you have to do the exams. So why Australia? Well, you have good pay, good hours, your hours are protected. You have a AMA, which is a union for doctors that makes sure that you're only allocated a certain number of hours in your fortnight. You have access to a wide range of fellowships, which we will be touching base in our slides that's yet to come. And currently, we have jobs available. When I first started, even after finishing your clinical exam, it was pretty much not possible to get a job right away unless you knew someone. And that's how I got my job through a Manipur alumni, helping me out through the process. But now we are in a situation with the pandemic and everything that we are short-staffed, and we do get Irish doctors to come in and help us. So it is a good time to come to Australia. So moving on. Because the panel in our questionnaires did say that most of you guys have just finished your medical degree, and a lot of you guys are in internship, and also students that have just completed your internship as well, I thought we'll just touch base very quickly about what is the registration process, and I've received a lot of questions on this. So first and foremost, go make an account in the AMC. You need an AMC ID to do anything. And also you have to check if your college that you did your medicine or your specialty training in the World Directory of Medical registry. All right. If your college is there, then you can proceed forward. If your college is not there, then unfortunately you won't be able to proceed forward to work in Australia. Once that's done, you register with the AMC portal, and you do your primary verifications and get your certification qualified. And that's when you get your AMC ID. Once your AMC ID is received, you will have to do a third-party verification called the EPIC verification. And again, everything is straightforward. They will guide you next step by step. The only thing that I want you guys to remember is that each step you will be asked to pay a certain fee. It is not a lump sum amount that you pay at the beginning. Each step requires you to make a payment. Once everything is done, all the paperwork is done, then you're set for your MCQ exams, basically. So you have two sets of exams. You have your MCQ exam and your clinical exam. MCQ exam can be done in your home country if they have centers for it. Clinical exam, unfortunately, they're moving into back to face-to-face exams, so they're only held in Australia. And in Australia, they're only held in Melbourne at the moment. Once you've completed your exams, you basically can get registered and start working. All right. So we're going to go into a bit more details about that because it can be a bit more confusing about when we get to that stage. So once you've completed your registration, you're ready to do the exams, you have a couple of pathways. You have your standard pathway, the competent pathway, and the specialist pathway. Now, standard pathway is where majority of you guys are going to fall into. The competent pathway is limited to 6 5 countries, including US, Canada, Ireland, UK, and New Zealand. These are the countries that can come through the competent pathway, and I'll touch base with the competent pathway in a bit. But before that, let's look at the standard pathway. So standard pathway is where you have 2 options to come to the standard pathway. So one is where you finish the MCQ, then you give your clinical exam, and you can apply for the registration once you have passed both exams. Now, say that you're not really keen in doing the clinical exam and you feel that it's very tough or you're burnt out, whatever the reason may be, what you can do is once you've completed your MCQ exam, you can go for a work-based assessment. Now, I will elaborate a bit more on the work-based assessment. So, and if you guys have any further questions, I'm more than happy to answer that later in the Q&A. So now going back to the competent pathway. Competent pathway is only for the candidates that have gotten a registration in those other 5 countries, and when I say that, I mean they must have passed their part 1 and part 2 of their exams in UK, for example, PLAB 1 and PLAB 2, and they must have completed a 1 year of rotation in the country, in one of those 5 countries. Only after that can they come to Australia through the competent pathway and get a provisional registration to practice here. All right. Now, when I say provisional registration, I will elaborate a bit more in the later stages. But provisional registration is similar to supervised rotations that you'll have to go through. Okay. Now, there is a group of candidates that are attending today that will be that is curious about the specialist pathway, and the specialist pathway can get a bit confusing. So I'm going to allocate that till the end of the presentation. So here's a flow chart. Now, this is all from the Opera website, which is the official website. As you can see, they give you a very good flow chart as to which pathway you'll fall into. So if you've had a specialist qualification, then you can attempt for the specialist pathway. But if you don't, then you are subjected to either the standard pathway or the competent pathway. So exams. What are the exams? So for the MCQ exam, you have the 2 main books, which is the handbook for the MCQs and the annotated multiple choice questions book. Apart from this, about 80% of your questions are from recalls. So that means it does take a huge part from you guys to go onto Facebook and actually join groups where the past candidates post their recalls up on the website. This is very crucial because 80% of your questions come from these feedbacks. All right. And however, when you do think of the recalls and when you go through the recalls, please make sure that you go through the Australian guidelines and you know the answer yourself and you know the topic well and truly well. Because what happens is, I don't know about you guys, but when I go for an exam and when I come back from the exam, I remember the topics, but I don't remember the questions exactly how it is. So for me, I will take the recalls with a pinch of salt and actually do my homework as to find out what the answers are. Now, apart from that, the clinical exam is the second part of the exam. That's where I come in. I tutor and I teach students for the clinical exam. Clinical exam mainly follows the AMC Handbook of Clinical Assessments. Now, that's the holy Bible of the book, and you just have to know the cases in and out, and that's, again, where the cases come out of that book for your clinical exam. Now, apart from that, you also, again, have recalls for this station. So for this exam, again, you got to get into the Facebook page and actually get the recalls month by month for the recalls and actually go through them and role play them with your partners. All right. Now, with both of them, there is another textbook called the John Murtaugh textbook, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys have heard about the textbook. He's actually a clinical examiner at one of these stations that he comes for. His book, you do not need to read it back to back. You just need to use it for a reference, and always use your Australian guidelines for your exams for reference purposes. But again, you don't need to read anything back to back. So again, there's a very good flow chart that is given by the Opera again, that tells you how the process is. So once you've completed the AMC MCQ, you actually go for the clinical, you secure an employment, and then you get your provisional